On a desolate roadside near Tacloban, where the land feels forgotten by time and the air hangs heavy with silence, two figures, Manila and Cebu, stand waiting beside a thin, leafless tree. The road stretches endlessly in both directions, yet nothing ever arrives. Cars do not pass, footsteps do not echo, and the horizon never changes. Manila, restless and anxious, fills the emptiness with words. He talks to keep fear away, questioning the meaning of their wait, their past, and even their own existence. Cebu listens, interrupts, agrees, and forgets, often asking the same questions again as if memory itself refuses to stay. Together, they represent people trapped between hope and despair, unsure why they remain but terrified of leaving. They say they are waiting for Godot, a mysterious figure who promised change, relief, or purpose, but neither of them can clearly remember what Godot looks like, what he will do, or whether he truly exists. Time behaves strangely on this road. Morning feels no different from evening, and yesterday blends into today. Manila suggests leaving many times, but each attempt fades into hesitation. Cebu agrees, yet his feet do not move. They fear that if they leave, Godot might arrive the moment they are gone. This fear chains them to the spot more strongly than any rope. The tree beside them, once completely dead, now holds a few weak leaves, suggesting the slow passage of time, but no real progress. Their conversations circle endlessly, repeating stories, jokes, arguments, and silences. They speak of hanging themselves out of boredom, yet lack even the courage to act on despair. The waiting itself becomes their identity, without it, they would have nothing. Throughout the day, Manila and Cebu struggle to prove that they exist and that their lives matter. They ask each other for confirmation, touching, shouting, and laughing to feel real. In this emptiness, human connection is the only thing that keeps them alive. The road becomes a symbol of life itself, open, uncertain, and cruelly indifferent. Godot, though absent, controls everything. His promised arrival gives them hope, structure, and a reason to stay. Yet this hope is also a trap, preventing them from taking responsibility for their own lives. By placing the story in Tacloban and turning the characters into Filipino city names, the scene reflects a universal human condition that crosses borders and cultures. People everywhere wait for opportunity, salvation, or rescue, from governments, leaders, faith, or fate, while time slips quietly away. Manila and Cebu do not fail because Godot never comes, they fail because they surrender their freedom to waiting. In the end, the road remains empty, the tree stands silent, and the two figures stay exactly where they began, still waiting, still hoping, and still unable to move forward. The endless waiting of Manila and Cebu is broken when two new figures appear on the road, Davao and Taguig. Their entrance feels sudden and unsettling, as if power itself has stepped onto the stage. Davao walks with confidence and cruelty, speaking loudly and demanding attention, while Taguig follows behind him in silence, bent under invisible weight. Though no physical chain is seen, Taguig is clearly bound by obedience, fear, and habit. Davao controls every movement, every pause, and every word. He boasts of strength, wealth, and intelligence, constantly reminding everyone that he is superior. Taguig, exhausted and beaten by routine suffering, barely speaks. When he does, his words are soft, broken, and filled with pain. This relationship exposes the harsh reality of dominance and submission that exists throughout society. Manila and Cebu react with confusion, curiosity, and discomfort. They ask questions but receive no clear answers. Davao treats them as insignificant, mocking their waiting and asserting his authority. He forces Taguig to perform meaningless tasks, dancing, carrying burdens, standing still, simply to prove control. Taguig obeys, not because he believes in Davao, but because disobedience feels impossible. His suffering has become normal to him. This moment reveals one of the play's darkest truths: oppression continues not only because of those in power, but because those beneath them have been trained to accept it. Manila and Cebu witness this cruelty, yet they do nothing to stop it. They feel pity, but pity does not become action. The encounter leaves behind an uncomfortable silence. When Davao and Taguig finally leave, the road feels heavier than before. Manila and Cebu are shaken, yet strangely unchanged. They briefly consider whether their own waiting is a form of slavery, whether Godot controls them the same way Davao controls Taguig, but the thought is too frightening to pursue. Instead, they retreat into familiar conversation, jokes, and forgetfulness. The injustice they witness becomes just another event that passes without consequence. Davao later returns, but now he is blind, and Taguig has become mute. Power has shifted in form but not in structure. Even weakened, Davao still dominates, and Taguig still suffers. This shows how systems of control survive even when leaders fall. Oppression adapts rather than disappears. Manila and Cebu barely recognize them, emphasizing how easily humans forget suffering once it is no longer in front of them. Through these characters, the story exposes the cycles of power, cruelty, and passivity that define much of human history. While Manila and Cebu wait for Godot to save them, others like Taguig suffer openly, and figures like Davao rise and fall without meaningful change. The road remains unchanged because no one chooses to act. The tragedy is not just waiting, it is witnessing injustice and allowing it to continue, hoping someone else will fix it tomorrow. As darkness slowly falls over the empty road near Tacloban, the sense of time becomes even more uncertain for Manila and Cebu. Just when silence feels unbearable, a small figure appears, Bohol, a childlike messenger whose presence carries both innocence and quiet cruelty. Bohol speaks politely and calmly, delivering a message that sounds familiar yet devastating. Godot will not come today, but he will surely come tomorrow. The words land softly, but their impact is heavy. Manila questions the boy, desperate for details. What does Godot look like? Does he remember them? Does he truly plan to come? Bohol answers vaguely, unsure and innocent, then disappears into the darkness. The message offers hope, but it is always delayed, never fulfilled. This promise keeps Manila and Cebu trapped. Though they feel disappointment, they cling to tomorrow because it gives meaning to today. Without Godot, their waiting would be pointless, and that truth is too painful to accept. They discuss leaving once more, agreeing that they should go, yet neither of them moves. Their bodies remain frozen, as if the idea of change itself has become terrifying. The night mirrors their internal state, quiet, endless, and unresolved. The road remains empty, and the tree stands as a silent witness to their failure to act. The next day arrives, but nothing truly changes. Manila and Cebu wait again, repeating the same conversations, the same jokes, and the same doubts. Though the tree now has more leaves, symbolizing time passing, they remain exactly where they were before. When Bohol returns with the same message, Godot will come tomorrow, the pattern becomes undeniable. Hope, instead of saving them, becomes a cycle of delay. Godot is no longer just a person, he becomes a symbol of everything humans wait for: success, salvation, justice, meaning, or rescue from suffering. By turning the characters into Filipino city names, the story reflects a universal reality faced by people across nations and cultures. Entire societies wait for leaders, systems, or miracles to fix their problems, while individuals surrender their freedom to expectation. Manila and Cebu are not punished by Godot's absence, they punish themselves by refusing to act. Their tragedy is not that nothing happens, but that they allow nothing to happen. In the final moments, they once again decide to leave, and once again, they stay. The ending offers no resolution, no reward, and no escape. Instead, it forces the audience to confront an uncomfortable truth: waiting can become a form of self-imposed imprisonment. Waiting for Godot is not about Godot at all, it is about humanity's fear of responsibility and the dangerous comfort of hope without action. The road remains empty, the promise remains unfulfilled, and Manila and Cebu continue waiting, not because they must, but because they choose to.